Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today, we're going to talk about the Wolverine story arc called Evolution. It takes place in Wolverine issues 50 to 55. Now, back in the day when this story came out, I found it to be pretty interesting. It has some cool concepts that sadly were all retconned. That all mutants that have more animalistic type of powers are actually part of a different subset. And they sort of take this idea from Earth X, Universe X, Paradise X, where they also established this concept, but they expanded it. It was every single character that had animalistic type of powers, be it mutants, or if they got their powers through magic, or radiation, anything that would unlock these animal type powers. The thing is that Marvel editorial didn't like this idea. They had it retconned. But this story is still cool because it really shows how much of a badass Sabertooth is. So the story starts off with Wolverine. By this time, he gets his memories back. They're coming back to him slowly. This phrase in Latin just can't stop repeating itself in his head. He knows it's tied to Sabertooth. He goes to the X Mansion because during this time, Sabertooth was part of one of the X teams. Obviously, both characters engage in battle. A pretty kick-ass battle, I must say. And in the heat of battle, Wolverine tells Sabertooth, "What the hell is this Latin phrase?" And Sabertooth is like, "Oh man, you're about to remember that." And something clicks in Sabertooth. He knows what is coming. He stops playing around, like he's able to completely clobber Wolverine. And he's going to take him on this journey. In a very messed up way, Sabertooth is going to actually help Wolverine discover what this Latin phrase means and where it's going to take him. But he's going to kill a lot of people on his way. Instead of breadcrumbs, Sabertooth is going to leave a trail of dead bodies all over the place. First, they end up in Wakanda, where Sabertooth almost kills Black Panther. He's on the run, but what Wolverine discovers in Wakanda is that they had found a very odd mass grave that had the skeletons of what seemingly were mutants that were more animalistic in their nature. Very weird hybrid skeletons between human and animals. And Black Panther actually tells Wolverine that he has a hypothesis that these skeletons are the remains of this offshot of humanity that I mentioned previously. And that he thinks that Wolverine and other mutants that have these animalistic powers are part of this subset of the human species. So Sabertooth gets captured off panel. They're still in Wakanda, but someone breaks him out, and we discover that the person responsible for this is actually Wild Child. And it's so weird to see Wild Child actually helping Sabertooth because both of these characters really, really hate each other. We're coming off the Weapon X series where Sabertooth did some really terrible stuff to poor Wild Child. And both characters have history together with X-Factor, but they don't have the relationship that they had in the Age of Apocalypse. And another thing is that Wild Child catches Wolverine by surprise and totally kicks his ass. And in the verbal exchanges that we get between Wolverine and Wild Child, he starts dropping hints that there's someone behind and controlling him and Sabertooth. He's the one pulling the strings behind Wolverine's life, controlling every aspect of it. So what happens the next day is that Wolverine has this new task force to hunt down Sabertooth. They're all animalistic type of mutants, except for Sasquatch, who's not a mutant. But the thing is, outside of him, we have Wolfsbane, Thorn, and Pharaoh. They all want to get to the bottom of this possible fact that they're all connected. Also, during this whole story, we get these weird flashbacks of these more animalistic type of mutants across history. And then we get a flashback of Wolverine fighting in World War II, where they retcon his first meeting with Captain America, where both characters cross paths with Wild Child, who's working with the Nazis. So they totally retcon Wild Child's origins, I guess, with no explanation after that. They made Wild Child crazy old now, like Wolverine and Sabertooth. I thought he was more of a contemporary character. So Wolverine goes to investigate Weapon X because he knows that Weapon X is always involved in these type of things. And up until pretty recently, they were the ones that were holding Sabertooth's leash. And once they arrive, Wolverine and Pharaoh enter immediately the installations, while the rest of the team stays outside when they're all attacked by Wildchild. There they find Sabertooth floating in one of those experimental vats. I'm not sure if they're trying to give him adamantium again, because he's had adamantium claws on more than one occasion, and then he just loses them with no explanation. The thing is that Sabertooth, once he realizes Wolverine's there, he breaks out of this vat. They start battling. We get another flashback where we get the whole situation where Wolverine is getting his adamantium. So he sees the professor, the guy responsible for that experiment. But behind the professor, we have Sabertooth and another very large shadowed figure that we're going to discover further down the line is Romulus. It seems that he had involvement in the fact that Wolverine was experimented on by Weapon X and he got his claws. So what happens is Wolverine gets his butt kicked again by Sabertooth. He's able to escape. Sasquatch was almost killed, and seemingly Sabertooth was eating Feral. And he's able to escape again. So what happens is Wolverine's like, this guy's a rabid dog. I have to put him down once and for all. He goes back to the X-Mansion, and he asks Cyclops, please give me back the Muramasa blade. Logan had given Cyclops this blade in the Wolverine Origin series. He pled with him. He's like, please keep this thing hidden away. So Wolverine with the Muramasa blade travels to a place that's pretty significant to the history of himself and Sabertooth. It's the house that Wolverine shared with Silver Fox. That on Wolverine's birthday, he killed her. And lo and behold, Wolverine's attacked by Sabertooth there. And as the story progresses, Creed is getting more and more animalistic. And by this time in the story, he's full-on raging monster. He can't even utter a word. And Wolverine starts using the Muramasa blade against Creed. He starts hacking and slashing. It's pretty brutal. And there's one fantastic panel where Sabertooth realizes that his healing factor is not working. That's when Wolverine decapitates him. And seemingly this is the death of Sabertooth. Now, what we discover further down the line is that Romulus had an army of Sabertooth clones. And what Victor Creed did, he sent one of these clones after Wolverine. He faked his death. While the Sabertooth Prime went off the grid, he tried to make a move to take over Madripoor with Mystique. He became to be more smart and cunning. He had left his feud with Wolverine behind and put his focus on trying to take over the criminal underworld of Southeast Asia. While the rest of the tale of Wolverine and Romulus is going to revolve around Daken. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.